Padre Pio's Book of Predictions: What Awaits Humanity in the Second Half of the 21st Century. The famous book of terrifying prophecies made by the Catholic priest Padre Pio, priest-monk, is becoming more and more relevant. The rapid development of political events in the world makes us think more and more about the future, try to understand complex and frightening problems. Father Pio, a saint since 2002, made not at all joyful descriptions of the future. On May 25, 1887, a unique person, Padre Pio, was born into a pious family. From infancy, he was instilled with love for God and taught what the Lord taught. Naturally, he decided to connect his life with worship. In 1918, the first miracle happened. Stigmata appeared on his hands and feet, just like those of Jesus Christ. His church colleagues examined Pio and decided that he used special ointments to fool everyone and present it as a miracle. As a result, the Holy See refused to believe the monk had sent him into seclusion for 10 years, from 1923 to 1933. As the years passed, Padre Pio was denied the opportunity to see sunlight, which caused the monk to become blind. All these years he ate only bread and water and prayed for days on end. In 1933 it was decided to conduct another examination. This time the opinion was given by leading doctors. After several careful investigations, it turned out that there was no forgery. There is no known way to inflict such wounds on oneself. In addition, if they were made artificially, they would have healed or festered long ago, because the conditions for existence at Padre Pio were monstrous in seclusion. As a result, the Holy See proclaimed the stigmata of the Italian a miracle, and tens of thousands of pilgrims were drawn to the monastery of San Giovanni Rotondo. Throughout his later life, Padre Pio received people daily from dawn to dusk. He discovered another gift: to heal by touch. A case is widely known. When a girl with a congenital pathology was brought to him, she had no pupils in her eyes. The man touched her eyes and the girl exclaimed, "Oh my God, how much light!" Another well-known healing is the case when a child who had been injured during the war was brought to the Padre. A shrapnel wound pierced the spinal cord and crushed the spine so that the poor child could not move a single finger on his own, and the boy could not speak. One touch was enough for him to return to normal life, and in gratitude he became one of Padre Pio's students. But not only these miraculous healings made the priest popular throughout the world. He said, "I cannot help the whole world. My age is too short. The best thing I can do for people is to leave behind a record of what I see." In 1968, the Italian died. The Catholic Church recognized him as a saint and canonized him. Padre Pio left a book of predictions as a legacy for future generations, along with a letter in which he described the need to admonish people before the beginning of the era of Sodom and Gomorrah, which is coming in the future along with the coming of the Antichrist, he said. Padre Pio saw a future he never wanted to be in, where even the church will take the side of evil. This is how he saw the future of Europe: terrible Sodom sins that will not only be encouraged but also cultivated in the society of the future. People are moving into the abyss of hell in great joy, as if they were going to a masquerade ball or a wedding of the devil himself. The measure of sin is full. The day with its horrific events is near. Europe will suffer terrible punishments when the papacy is empty. Anger, hatred, and slander will be provoked by a small number of people who will be sent to the fire, and then they themselves will kill their ruler. There will be a big war in the east and west, which will destroy many people. People will stare powerlessly at this for 4 years and 5 months. Then famine and plague will take more victims than war. Pay attention to the numbers: 4 years and 5 months. This is the second known accurate prediction of Pio where numbers are mentioned. The first concerns the 3 days of tribulation. Clear prophecies came to the priest more than once. He saw the events accompanying this time many times, and therefore accurately pointed out the gap. Does this mean that the world unrest describing the period of the Third World War will end 4 years and 5 months after the start of the first conflict? Time will tell, and here is the outcome of events. The punishment that will come down cannot be compared with any other that God allowed from the beginning of creation of the world. A third of the people will leave forever when it's too late. A large rock will emerge from the whiteout during the night. It will be a night without a declaration of war. Then from Bucharest to Nuremberg, from Dresden to Berlin, the lines will be occupied by troops. The third line will run from the Ruhr Basin to Kaliningrad. Then black-gray birds will fly from the south with such power that they will change the sky and the earth. The first bomb will fall on the church near the Bavarian forest. Everything will be destroyed and no one can escape it. Over there, tanks are driving through the huts and houses. People are sitting in this technique, but their bodies are hanging down. They are dead, all around with black faces. Floods will destroy towns and villages. Southern England will be the northern coast will disappear. Scotland will survive. In the west, the land will disappear, but new lands will appear. New York and Marseille will perish. Paris will be 2/3 destroyed. Racetown, Augsburg, Vienna will be retained. Augsburg and the countries around the Danube will not feel the consequences of the war. Whoever looks in the direction of destruction will perish. His heart will not withstand this terrible sight. More people will die in one night than in 2 world wars. Then faith will become stronger. 2 years after this horror, the golden time will come. In his book, Pio indicates that the main test for humanity would occur around 2060. It will be a monstrous war, the largest in the history of mankind. Hundreds of millions of people will die. Here's what the clergyman wrote about this period. Man will destroy man, the land will disappear, the big land. One side of the world will be erased from the geographic map forever, and with it the history and wealth of mankind will disappear. Anger, hatred, and slander around the world, as Padre Pio described, are our realities, which again, as he predicted with the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, lies are everywhere, rejections, intrigues, and strife. Isn't this what the Italian priest wrote half a century ago? A terrible punishment for Europe when God's wrath will reach those whom many consider saints but were on the side of evil. Is that time coming to an end? Fortunately, Padre Pio wrote how this could be avoided. Humanity must unite. All denominations, all nations. God will hear and change the course of history, otherwise it will crash. Unfortunately, so far, there is no unity among the various representatives of the human race. Therefore, it's worth preparing for the worst. The monk described what awaits those who survive the terrible war. A meteorite will fall on earth, and everything will tremble. There will be a disaster greater and worse than war. Get ready to live many days in complete darkness. These days are very close. At this time, all people will be as dead. There will be almost no food and drink left on earth. When the light will return, but only a few will see it. Then the light will return and only a few will see it. Unfortunately, it seems that the 21st century promises incredible difficult trials for humanity. One could attribute everything to someone's delusions, perception for his own peace of mind, but surprisingly, his predictions echo those left by Nostradamus, Paracelsus, Casey, and the famous Vanga. All of them claimed that destructive events on earth will begin in the second half of the 20th century. The war will be only the beginning, then a series of destructive cataclysms and diseases will follow. Paracelsus and Casey left predictions about the 2070s almost word for word. Mountains will sink to the bottom and new lands will emerge from the depths of the ocean. Where there was a desert, meadows will flourish. Where there were forests, scorched earth will remain. Cities will be wiped out, and those people who survive all the disasters will not know if they were lucky or if this is another curse. Padre Pio writes about similar events. A strange accident or a tragic statement. Today, there is a feeling that humanity is going downhill and is inevitably moving towards its own destruction. But after all, people already experienced this during the years of the Cold War, when every day the townsfolk woke up in anticipation of a hail of nuclear bombs. Maybe the predictors saw not ours but a parallel reality. Or was there an error in reading the information after all? It's unknown, although there is only one way to find out: to live until 2060, or perhaps these events could unfold in the nearest future, months or even weeks from now. As for Padre Pio, he was a very unique person. His commitment to faith was reflected in his whole life. He was practically sentenced to death but survived 10 years of seclusion, sacrificing his eyesight. In exchange for this, several gifts were revealed to him: foresight, healing, and other less significant ones. So paradoxically, having lost his sight, the Padre saw much more than ordinary people. This is on Soul Ask. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.